Hey guys, welcome back to the next video. In this video, we are going to talk about load balancer. Now, to understand load balancer and to its hands-on, you can open EC2, and when you open EC2, you will have the load balancers over here on the EC2 like this, and then you can click create load balancer. Now you have three options over here. Actually, there are four options over here and towards creating a load balancer. Now, a classic load balancer, which was in the previous iteration, is kind of depreciated and it will be leaving soon. And classic load balancer is replaced with three other load balancer types over here. So the first one to start with is an application load balancer, and then you have network load balancer and gateway load balancer. What is an application load balancer? Let's just talk more in detail about each one of this and then just compare it with one another. So firstly, application load balancer is majorly used for your web applications. That's the name of application load balancer came into picture. So it is used for web applications, microservices, or anything which uses application framework. In terms of network load balancer, it is used on a low latency, high throughput applications where you need a very good response from your applications. So there we would be using this. The gateway load balancer, on the other hand, is used for security appliances, traffic inspectors, and any kind of application which uses a third-party application and wants to, balance the load between them. So in case of firewall or something like that. So that's basically a gateway load balancer. So we will do a sample or demo of one of this load balancers to show you around how to create, this load balancer configuration and how to configure this. Preferably, we will do application load balancing and set up one application on it on the next video. But here, in this video, we will try to understand the differences in them. So firstly, the application load balancer is layer 7 load balancer for application, and network load balancer is layer 4, and gateway load balancer is layer 3. So each layer contributes a little bit of differences between them. A layer 7 load balancer is basically used for path-based and host-based routing. So for example, a traditional load balancer looks like a network load balancer, which is a layer 4 load balancer. So what a layer 4 load balancer would do is, like, when a request comes to the load balancer, so the load balancer will redirect the request directly to something which is beyond it. So you will normally say that these are the service of services beyond the load balancer. And all the load balancer would do is, like, it will be a bottleneck. It will create a bottleneck for the incoming request and then routes the request to different applications beneath it. Okay, so basically what you see in this architecture is what will happen. So the request comes in and then it goes through the network load balancer, and then you can configure directly items under it. There is one option of configuring directly the EC2 compute under it, or you can go through another ALB or application load balancer, and then from there it can connect to multiple items. So either ways you can do it. But do remember that a network load balancer is a very straightforward load balancer where it basically sends when a request is received, it balances the load and sends out to whoever it is reporting to. It does not classify the request. Now, classification of requests comes through application load balancing. Application load balancing not just balances the load, but also it classifies the load. So as I told you, in terms of routing, here the network load balancer will do an IP-based routing. Very simple and straightforward. Okay, but application load balancing will do a path-based and host-based routing. Now, what is path-based and host-based? So the URL which the customer is sending to that load balancer, it will analyze the URL, and there will be two options for it: a path-based or host-based. Path-based means it will look at the URL path, and based on the path, you can actually configure the application load balancer to point it to a custom directory. So in that way, that custom directory would be, that custom directory or custom application would be called upon by looking at the URL. So a lot of sorting happens at the application load balancing level rather than the network load balancer. Network load balancer will directly send the request without having looking at the URL. But application load balancer looks at the URL, see what path they are requesting, and then takes a call. So there is a judgment call happens over here at the application load balancer, which doesn't happen on the network load balancer. So this is the major difference between application load balancer and network load balancer. So application load balancer not just forwards the request but also analyzes the URL, and then it basically decides based on path based and host based routing, where in terms of network load balancer it basically does a IP based routing. And in terms of the gateway in this aspect, so the gateway load balancer, transparent routing through appliances. It does a transparent routing through appliance, and it basically understands the firewalls and the third party applications beyond that, and basically it does the host routing of your URLs, incoming application traffic. Now, on the other hand, the ALB or application load balancer will handle HTTP, HTTPS WebSockets. Network load balancer handles TCP, UDP, TLS routings, and gateway load balancer handles all IP address traffic. So this is the major difference between all these of them. So as I told you, if you're using microservices, containers, application, web services, all sort of things will be supported by ALB. But if you want something which is ultra low latency and which can handle a lot of network load, then you can go for network load balancing, even for your microservices and containers. But do remember that this network load balancer will be using a very straightforward routing. That is the reason it is ultra low latency, because it does not it does not sort out, or it does not has a deciding factor at the load balancer level. So you also have an option of configuring network load balancer. Under that, you can configure a ALB as well for it to sort out more in detail. So that we will talk later point of time, but these are the options which is available while creating a load balancer. In the next video, we will see in much detail about the load balancer. Thank you again. I'll see you on the next video.